Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Alaia Leighland, and this is an episode of the Enchanted Life Salon brought to you on Look Who's Talking Vision. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of something, and let's contemplate the enchantment that is our life. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever and whenever you are. This is Alaia, and I'm here with Len, and we're going to have conversations about baby boomers going global. And I actually think I might create a segment of the podcast that is entitled Baby Boomers Going Global, because it's sort of beyond an enchanted life to go global with our lifestyle of having life be easy and effortless and full of wonder. So this morning I'm here with my cup of whatever, and I'm sure that Len is there with her cup of whatever.
Yes, I am.
Good
morning.
It's not morning for you, is it?
No, it's not. It's about 12:30.
I love technology. And I'm sure that we're talking to people that it's nighttime wherever they are. And eventually, whoever is listening to this, who knows what time and where they will be. So this is, 10 years ago, we couldn't do this, and I'm stoked.
It's exciting.
Absolutely. Now, you sent me a little message, and you basically said, I have something planned, and we're just going to do it. And I'm like, okay, surprise me. So I'm ready. Surprise me.
That is really, really nice of you to just go with the flow and wing it. I appreciate that. I'd like to start out with fear of the unknown. And the first exposure our generation had of other countries and their peoples began for us at a very young age. It was terrifying. As young as 5 years old, the alarm would go off in our school. We had to duck and cover under our desks because we might get bombed. I had neighbors that were building bomb shelters, and we heard air raid sirens. That's really a young age to have that go on in your life. And our Saturday morning cartoons, which we waited for all week, contained scary images of bad guys portrayed as Russians dressed in black with thick accents out to kill us. We all knew who that was. The news that our parents watched on TV after dinner, the men talked about war, and they talked about things we didn't understand. We had jingles and songs about the B-52 bombers, and I remember seeing military propaganda, which I didn't know that's what it was at the time, in our cartoons with Donald Duck dressed in Army uniform. And if that wasn't enough to make us look over our shoulder and be scared all the time, we listened to adults who we trusted and loved and cared about talk and spit venomous things about the Japanese, and grew up thinking it was okay and funny to call people names. Then we were older, and along came Vietnam, and we saw horrific pictures on TV that we didn't earlier on because they wouldn't allow that on TV. The government still brainwashes us to be afraid of everything not of the U.S. I didn't realize until I traveled to Japan last year that growing up with those terrifying images also sparked a deeper curiosity in me. And then I remembered as a small child, my father taught me how to use chopsticks and drink tea, and he gave me a little geisha doll with different wigs and kimonos to switch out, and I became mesmerized of the thoughts of Japan and how exciting and interesting it was. Pictures in my head of lanterns swaying in the air and cherry blossoms all over the ground, and koi swimming under lily pads, and white cranes, and the haunting melody of the traditional Japanese music. And I wanted to know more, and I wanted to feel more. So I remember being shown real kimonos as a child and then as an adult, and the fabrics and the textures and the colors and designs were like traveling into a storybook, and I wanted to wear one and I wanted to be one. Didn't even know what it meant. But my husband and I have been married for 39 years. We still take off our shoes in the house. Our son grew up taking off his shoes in the house. When he'd go over to friends' houses, he'd take off his shoes, and they thought he was kind of silly. We continue to make Asian food, and I see touches of the Orient throughout my house. So one doesn't wake up one day in their late 50s and say, hey, I think I'll move to Southeast Asia. It's like building a roaring campfire. You have to begin with a tinder and then with a spark before you can pile the logs on. So here are some first basic steps. Decide where you want to go, a city or a village. Do you need to be near medical facilities? Do you need your own transportation, or will you use the local transportation? The visa requirements in every country are different. Some require you to prove how much money you have. Some nobody could afford to live in. Some countries don't even want you to retire there. So you have to find out what those requirements are. If you have to work to bring in money, is it allowed that you work? Some countries don't let you. Do you need immunizations? And then Alaia touched on a topic when we were discussing this about how familiar do you want things to be. We've lived on acres before, and it's hard work. And personally, we want the comfort of a small city where I can go to the mall or to the movies or walk to the corner market and then maybe take transportation up into the hills and you can be away from people. So that's about it. Alaia, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to respond. I made notes. I'm so organized this morning. Maybe lack of sleep is good for me. When you talked about your childhood and how you became globally conscious, I grew up the same time that you did, so, I was part of that generation of hiding under your desk and sticking your head between your knees and kissing your whatever goodbye.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much hearing the conversations because I grew up in the country and my father was a minister, and so they just didn't talk about that. I don't think that's the normal religious household, because I have friends now who are religious and they are far from that. But they're very political and all of that. But my dad wasn't, so our household wasn't. And I became an armchair traveler from our front porch because we had.
I like that.
We had radio. Dad wouldn't allow a television, but we had radio, and I could walk to the neighbor's house and watch TV. And so the travel channels, what few there were, I watched. And then the movies, I thought global was the U.S. I didn't even realize there was anything else in the world until, I got to school and they actually still taught geography. And then I figured out that there's a whole globe. Oh, my God. And so I started exploring the globe. But I explored it from my armchair, and I explored it in books. I looked in encyclopedias, which kids now don't even know what that is. They know what Wikipedia is, but not an encyclopedia.
We had National Geographic. That was a big deal.
I looked in those, and I fantasized about what all these places were like, but I never went to any of them because I didn't quite understand how you could do it. And, so I just kind of did my little fantasy thing. And this went on into adulthood. I joined the military. I still did not leave the United States. I didn't have a passport or anything. And then one day I went to Hawaii, and I met a lady who introduced me to another lady, and we became friends, and I moved to Washington State. Well, she disappeared for a couple of months, And then she came back and she had all of this wonderful exotic stuff. And where did you get this stuff? And she said, oh, I just came back from Asia. And I was like, you came back from where? And she said, I just came back from Asia, and I went to Singapore, and she told me all these stories about getting to Singapore in the middle of, I think it was Songkran, the water festival, and that no hotels available. She didn't know anybody. She had a little backpack with money in it and nowhere to stay, and the adventure of it was just like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got a passport, and the next year when she went, I was there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then I became a real traveler instead of an armchair traveler. When you talk about fear of the unknown, and you say, you don't, get up out of your chair one day and hop on a plane, I don't know if you've been looking at the forum that we both are members of.
Well, yeah.
People.
I think maybe what I meant was it takes a lot of planning to actually decide to up and move. We're not coming back. We don't have a house to come back to. We don't have family to come back to. We're not coming back. So I know there are people who travel and they go for 6 months or half the year and stay somewhere, and then they come back here. But that's not an option for us. We're leaving and we're not coming back. And we're really excited, and I want to do it right now. But Patience is not my middle name.
I have the same problem, and I started as of the 20th of March. I will have been a member of RCA for 1 year. And when I joined, when I joined, I was thinking that I was going to leave in April. I joined in March. I was going to leave in April. Things didn't work the way I felt because I'm just like snap, we're doing it now. But my life has been very different in the last 12 years, and so that's not an option now. I've become very very rooted where I am. And so I'm having to dig up the roots and prune the tree.
Yeah, we don't make decisions, snap decisions. We are spontaneous, but I guess deeper down, if it's something that this huge of a life-changing experience, we want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. And that's what my husband's really, really good at, is putting all those, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure that we're not going to have hopefully any snafus in paperwork or banking or any of that.
Right, and those things are really important for our listeners. I heard and gathered that one of the best, I don't know if you've heard this, one of the best resources for carrying, spending money and being able to, get money out of the ATMs and stuff without going broke with ATM fees is Charles Schwab. I've heard and had customers even come into the gallery who say, yes, they use their Charles Schwab card and they get reimbursed at the end of the month for all their ATM fees.
Wow, that's great.
You didn't know that?
Well, no, but we did talk to our what's it called? Oh, our credit union. Sorry, brain fade there. And our credit union said, oh, no problem, just give us your address when you're in Thailand, and we won't worry about your card. You can do whatever you want to do. You can transfer money and have everything deposited into the credit union in California, and then you can get money. So some banks don't let you do that.
Right. A lot of banks don't let you do that. But the other thing is that, and this is by no means encouraging people to do something that is not okay, but my thought is if you're leaving and you know you're leaving and you're not coming back and we're global now. And so we can do things a lot of things, almost everything online. So it is entirely possible to secure a street address type mailing service in the U.S. and have that be your address and still do all of your banking and everything, through that address and have them send your stuff or let your statements be electronic.
I've heard of that.
As far as, I haven't been back to my home state in 12 years. My bank's still there,
Mm-hmm.
I call them up, I talk to them if I need something, and they answer and they do whatever it is that I need. But I haven't seen them. It's like every time I call up, because I don't call very often, every time I call up, I get somebody new on the phone and I go, oh, I don't know you. And they go, well, yeah, but we've heard of you.
Oh, great.
We've
heard of you. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, good things, I guess. Oh, she's in Hawaii. Yeah, we never see her, but yes, this is her account, and it's been good standing. So, but if I used that bank card when I was overseas, I would get hit with the normal ATM fees. And so what a lot of people are doing is they are opening a Schwab account, and they're attaching their credit union or their home bank or whatever to their Schwab account, and then they're electronically transferring money from that home account into their Schwab account in order to do sending money so that they're not hit with the ATM fees when they're withdrawing money.
We'll keep that in the back of our head. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people do it, and it seems to be working. I'm going to try setting mine up that way as well. And it's those kind of things that need to be considered when you're making this kind of a move because, if you forgot a detail, you can't just hop on a plane and go fix it. For me, because I moved from the mainland to Hawaii, which I also can't hop on a plane and go fix it, without a big hassle, I almost think I kind of got my feet wet a little bit,
Well, what are you, when you go to visit, what is your priority? Is this a scouting trip for you for when you move?
This trip is a scouting trip for me. I will be gone for about a month, maybe a few days more. And I'm going to have some, it's partially medical. I'm going to have some dental work done because dental work is much less expensive there. And then I'm going to look around, and I've traveled to Thailand before, but never with the thought of living there, always as a traveler who was passing through, buying things and going to another place, because our trips are always encompassed India, Nepal, Thailand, Indonesia, and sometimes we would hit Singapore. So I haven't looked at it from that standpoint. I've always thought that it would be nice, but I never thought that it was possible until I found RCA. And so now it's like, okay, I need to go back and look at it from the standpoint of this being home. And I think a month will give me sort of that opportunity. I would like to be there longer because obviously I'm going to be, very busy with the dentist for a large portion of that time, which is not like living there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would like to, just be there. But
when you say
go ahead.
Well, when you say home, I really like that thought, and I have a work password I have to use several times a day, and I have to change it every few months. And I just changed it to say home to Chiang Mai. And so I type it in, and it's in my head all the time. And I'm starting to decorate my office with pictures and things of Thailand so I can manifest and be there and visualize it.
Yeah. And it's little tools. Our technology gives us little tools to kind of help us move toward what it is that we want, whether it's to move to Thailand or Greece. I talked to a woman yesterday who has been maintaining a home in Greece for the last 12 years, 15 years. She was there 15 years ago. She loved it. She knows she wants to go back. So she has been paying rent. She's not even buying. She's been paying rent on an apartment in Greece that is closed up with her things in it for when she comes back for 15 years. And
wow.
I thought, that's not a bad idea. She said it's only costing me less than $2,000 a year. So I know it's there. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
She goes, I know it's there, and I know the people downstairs, and I can send things, and they open the door and stick it inside. She goes, I'll get back there. And I thought, wow, okay.
Well, hopefully you and I will find the right place to rent, and it's in a good, I don't want to say good area, because from what I'm reading, there really aren't any bad areas. It's a really safe place to be. But to have something that stretches our money?
Well, I think anything that is going to stretch our money compared to the U.S.,
mm-hmm.
because it's not possible, I don't think, normally to rent an apartment in the U.S. for under $500 a month that anyone would want to stay in. And particularly not in a place that you want to stay. I mean, if you want to live in a trailer park on the outskirts of Macon, Georgia, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But whether or not you want to live there is a whole other story. And it appears that the place that we're going to, and many of the places that I've investigated since I started this journey to move beyond armchair to actual global person, many of the places are very affordable. Of course, if you're going to live in downtown Paris, no. Even if you're going to live in Bangkok, it might be a little difficult if you're in the in district, because I think Bangkok does have some bad areas. But I think if you're realistic, it's doable. The big thing that is a concern for me is how much stuff can I get rid of and not worry about being able to replace it if I need to. That is my biggest concern. Because, again, like you said, when we leave, we're leaving.
So you need a priority list of what is the most important thing for you to take. And that's going to be, for you, your kitchen things, that, like your dehydrator and blender and juicer and things like that.
Well,
I feel the same way.
It's probably going to be that, and it's going to be my medicine chest, because I'm not so into going to doctors. Even though medical in Thailand is really inexpensive, I'm not so into going to doctors. So
it's a natural medicine test?
Yeah, I'm looking at, and I asked somebody online, can I get essential oils there, can I get my homeopathy there? Can I get, the stuff that in my world is medicine?
That's my world also, and natural products. I use natural shampoos. I don't use the factory-made things with all the chemicals in the shampoos. Do they make those there? I have no idea.
Well, I don't know if they make them, but I've actually gone a step further on that, and I know that they have the ingredients that's in them, and so I'll make my own.
Oh, there's a little business startup. It's
like, okay, I need to have this. Okay, can I add baking soda? I have coconut oil. I have, mix all this together. Okay, now I have what I need.
There you go.
Yeah. So that one is not such a concern if I can get the raw ingredients. And so the raw ingredients is more what I'm concerned about than, whether or not I can buy it prepared. But all of those are issues if you are not going back to the place that you're familiar. And it's something to think about.
Yeah, we're creatures of community and familiarity, and to branch out and get lost and find your way around I'm looking forward to it, but I know there's going to be times when I'm going to be walking through an expat grocery store where they have all these products that are really expensive because they're imported, and I'm going to say, wow, I haven't had marshmallows. I don't eat marshmallows, but it's that familiar, I need those marshmallows. Why? Well, because I do. So,
Well, and expat grocery stores and high-end hotels, when you get super homesick, and you're not going back home, a night in a high-end hotel and a trip through an expat grocery store will give you that fix, and then you'll be good to go.
We just have to be gentle with ourselves and don't worry about if you have a meltdown, because it's going to happen and it's normal, and you'll get over it and you'll move on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you realize that we have talked for 30 minutes already?
Well, that seems to be easy to do in our world.
It does seem to be easy to do. I want to tell the listeners a couple of things, and then I want you to kind of leave us with a thought. And I'll leave them with my thought. Just so you guys know, I and you too, Lynn, I don't think I told you, I have been one of the authors in a book that's called Messengers of Peace for 2013, and it's on Kindle now. And so I'm all excited. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy, because I'm an author, but of a book of my own, and this is an anthology, and it's the first one that's like bigger. So I'm all excited about that.
That is really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to tell the listeners to find us on iTunes by typing in my name, Alaia Leighland, ALAIA LEIGHLAND, and iTunes into Google, and you'll get the link that will take you to all of the archived broadcasts as well as the current ones, and the past ones are also on Blog Talk. So if you're anti-Apple and you don't like iTunes, that's okay. The archives are still out there and you can get to them. iTunes is just an easier place because you can get to them all lined up and whatever. That's just because I'm an Apple person. Anyway. Lynn, what would you like to have our listeners know?
Well, my husband started a blog, and it's a play on words going out for thaifood.wordpress.com, and we are just kind of chronicling what steps to take and what we're going through. Won't be the same as what everybody goes through, but you're welcome to go there and look at it. And it does take an open mind, flexibility, and a sense of humor to want to experience another culture. So no matter where your spark takes you, take comfort in knowing that others have done it too, and with thought, care, and planning, so can you. And just one quote, and I apologize, don't remember where it came from, so I'm energetically giving somebody the yes, thank you for using your quote. Allow the world to live as it chooses, and allow yourself to live as you choose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remind myself of that on a regular basis because it is one of the things that will knit us together as a global community. And if we can just step back and know that everyone's choice is their choice and that we don't need to change them, they don't need to change us, everyone can remain the way they are, and it's okay.
It's okay.
then everything unfolds as it should, and that's the most important thing, I think. I'm looking forward to my trip, and I'm looking forward to further conversations with you because I'm wanting to start a blog, and WordPress is giving me a chase around. So, but it's easier than my webpage, I must say. So I'm getting there. It's an organizing thing. It's just like organizing for the trip. It's organizing for the trip on the web. So until next time, everyone, thank you for joining us. And follow us on Facebook under Enchanted Life or Enchanted Life Community, and we will see you next week. I will be on Wednesday with Susan for Enchanted Life, and we'll be talking about other stuff other than traveling. Until next time, aloha.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.